like that.
Right. I like how you guys are being creative with alleviating some of the challenges. I would assume that there's also workshop trainings for employees and staff members and even participants, right? To those that are not computer savvy or perhaps have never even used a computer in their life, right? I'm sure that there's
Yes.
support that or programs that diversity is probably offering to those particular participants to help them get more creative and get more immersed into the online platform. And that's pretty good. I like that. 'Cause-
Yes, certainly. Yes. Yeah.
yeah.
Well, definitely, it sounds like there's a lot to offer. Let's learn more about how diversity helps people get back into the workforce. Florence, can you tell us a little bit more about diversity's accessible programs and services and how they provide people to gain access so that they can make use of them?
Okay, so I will start with our settlement service. I would say that's the program, that's the first service most of the newcomers should receive. So the settlement service help the newcomers to, let's say, for example, find a place to stay, and then also register your kids to school, and then even register for your SIN numbers and get yourself into our MSP. So those are the basic foundation the settlement workers can help the newcomers. And furthermore, the settlement worker, they also provide some kind of educational workshops. So that's where the newcomer get to know the Canadian practice. So Canadian norms and then the different cultures and the systems in Canada. So that's the first settlement service. And then at the same time, highly recommend most of us, we should receive some language training. So we should get ourselves tested on the language level. Either you are language level 2, 3, or 4, or 6, or 7, or 8, or 9. So then you understand how to advance yourself in terms of our English communication. So that's the language service, link class. And furthermore, moving on to the employment program. Of course, right now we focus on youth. So we have the future leaders programs for youth. So then they offer the programs for youth come to understand the life skills, communication skills. They also get opportunity to get, for example, the first aid trainings and also the food safe trainings. So some basic trainings for the youth be able to get their first job in Canada to get started. And then in terms of the counseling service, because once we settle down in Canada, maybe within the 1 or 2 years, we might still have some situation. We just need to talk to counselors. So our family counseling service provide that for you. Either it's a family situation, either your personal situation. So the counseling service can help the immigrants, newcomers here. Yeah.
Wow.
Wow.
Those are a lot of well needed services.
It's really awesome that there's a lot of training and counseling because a lot of times counseling is such a taboo for a lot of immigrants coming in, and just diversity recognizing the value of giving and offering those services is just like uncanny. So yeah, no, good on diversity and the team that organizes all of that. Are there any services that a diversity cannot accommodate or people cannot are not able to have access to if they come to diversity seeking some sort of service?
I think the only thing is majority of our service is for immigrants and the newcomers. So some of the program, they may have some eligibilities limitation. They are not offered for the local born Canadians. Yeah, I think that's the only downside, some of the program. However, usually the open workshop, because especially these days through the Zoom meeting, and then they welcome everybody. Yeah.
I'm just curious, like, would you also accommodate like international students as well, or they have to have immigrated to Canada?
I think we have 1 or 2 programs. They offer some support for the international students, but I couldn't 100% sure. But it's true. I think majority, maybe 95% of our service, because many of our service are funded by the federal government.
Oh, okay.
So this funding is mainly for the permanent residents, the immigrants or the refugees. That's why, yeah, for the one-on-one service usually is limited to only for the immigrants. Yeah, but for the workshop, usually they are more flexible.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Just another question for the immigrants or refugees that are coming to use the services. Do they need to have like any requirements that they have to meet? Do they have to have certain documents to provide to you, or their fees or anything like that?
Definitely, there is no fee because it's already been funded by the government, and some will be provided by the private funding. Yeah, but in terms of, most of the case, they need to see you have the permanent resident card with the PR number, right? And of course, I know some people not yet. Before you have that, you might have the kind of immigration paper. I think that will work too. And even for the refugee, you are in the process to get your paperwork. I think we still have some capacity to accommodate that.
That's great. Yeah. Learning a lot about diversity today.
Yeah.
Okay.
I know right now with COVID it just has happened, and we're trying to all get back to the new normal with everybody getting their vaccine passports, things opening back up, and the workforce is changing. I'm just wondering, for people who have become entrepreneurs during this time of the pandemic, what programs does Diversity have for those who may be looking for alternatives to rejoining the workforce rather than going back to work and really maintaining in that entrepreneurship hustle?
Thank you. So we always have the self-employment program, and this program at Diversity is private funding by TD. So we had a program since 2017. But furthermore, coming to 2020, we had another program funded by the Canadian Western Bank. So the TD's funding is mainly for the immigrants. They want to start their business in Canada. But Canadian Western Bank, the funding is mainly for the women's entrepreneurs. So these two programs are currently available for the women entrepreneurs and also for the immigrants entrepreneurs. So I would say, relative speaking, and also actually there are statistic data to support this. Immigrants, relatively speaking, we are more likely to start our business because I think there's a reason for that. So there's a theory because immigrant, we chose to come to the different country. We already kind of prove ourselves in our life. We want to do something a little bit different. So when we consider to run a business, it's also very much like you want to start another different journey. So that's one of the reasons that immigrants, comparing to the local born Canadians or local people, we are a little bit higher, want to try the business. And then the second point is my observation, in my opinion, because many of the immigrants, we used to be so successful in our home country, and those were well established after 20, 30, or 40 years. So then, when we move to Canada, we feel a sense of lost. We don't know who we are anymore. We kind of a little bit feel we lost our identity. Yeah,
Mhm.
and we really need to try to find something to prove ourselves and then find a sense of achievement, sense of identity back. So many of the immigrants try to start a business is also based on that reason. And on that note, of course, if we need to get a job, usually at the beginning, it's almost very difficult, not possible to get the same level of the professional job at the beginning. So most of the skilled immigrant, we might start from the entry level of the job in our professional career path at the beginning. So same thing, the sense of achievement is kind of relatively low. So on that other side, if we are able to succeed in pursuing a business, it will help to get a sense of belonging, sense of achievement when we are in Canada. I guess that's also the reason, even the skills immigrant, before we can get back to the professional career path, even we are working on the entry level job, we want to do something to prove ourselves. So that's why entrepreneurship is very popular among immigrants.
Yes, absolutely. I believe that 100% because I think I saw a quote or I read online on the Work BC site about 95% of BC small small businesses were held by immigrants. And I just was so dumbfounded by that stat. I just thought, wow, really? And then it makes sense with what you're just saying right now. Florence, I want to say that you are definitely, or I've seen you in so many capacities in terms of being the face of a lot of social service entrepreneurial events happening around the city. Prior to me coming across from you, actually, I first had a chance to meet you when there was an event at the public library, the Surrey Public Library. I think it was a tax learning how to file taxes as a small business owner or something along the lines. I've just been like, wow. And then having to work with you and just seeing all the amazing direction that you are giving aspiring entrepreneurs. I do know that there is an event coming up later on this month, the Diversity Entrepreneur and Small Business Fair. Can you maybe share with us and the listeners a little bit more about that, and then maybe the next intake for those that missed it this time around?
Yes, certainly. So next Wednesday, October 20, we are going to have the virtual event. And actually, it's a combination of the in-person and the virtual event. Diversity Entrepreneur and a Small Business Fair. So it will be happening between 4 p.m. to 6 p.m. So this will be the opportunity we try to provide for most of the immigrants, entrepreneurs, or anyone you are just considering to start your business. So of course, it will be the event we are trying to gather most of the important resources from the lower mainland. So there will be other community service provider. They will be also joining us. So there will be for the aspiring entrepreneur, you get to know the other resources available. Also, we are trying to offer the immigrant entrepreneur grants. So the purpose for the event is we try to create this platform for the immigrant entrepreneur be able to showcase. So if in the real in-person trade show format, each immigrant entrepreneur, they will be able to have a table and a booth. They set up their table and then they will be able to interact with attendees. But this year, we just need to be creative to do a little bit combination of the virtual and also the in-person. And we also offer the immigrant entrepreneur grants. So because we believe it's not easy to become successful overnight. So the encouragement and the milestone and the small celebration will be very important. So that's the reason we create the immigrant entrepreneur grants. We are going to announce the 3 winners. So they will be acknowledged for their kind of achievement on implementing their business ideas. But I would say the highlights for this fair is we are going to have 2 keynote speakers. The first one is Vic. So he will be sharing what it takes to be an immigrant entrepreneur in Canada. And you will be able to see the more information from Diversity's website. The second speaker is Sam. He's going to say the topic to share 2 things. He wish he already know when he just get started as a new entrepreneur. Yeah. So these are the highlights for the day. Yeah. So I'm hoping that many people will be able to join us through Zoom. I think it will be the good opportunity to see some progress and the development and also how the immigrants entrepreneurs, how the other entrepreneurs try to advance ourselves, try to overcome all this challenge during the pandemic, during the COVID time.
Oh, absolutely. I love the fact that they're offering that incentive. Is the fair open to anybody to come in, like if they want to come in person, or is it just strictly for entrepreneurs and aspiring entrepreneurs?
Everyone is welcome to join online, so you can simply register through Eventbrite, but just in person because we have the capacity issue. So the in person is only by invitation only. It's mainly for the immigrant entrepreneurs and also community service providers. Yeah.
Right on. All right, Florence. So are there any programs that Diversity offers or are in the woodwork?
Yes, definitely. So in addition to the program service helping refugee and the newcomers and the immigrants, we actually also have other program service helping for the diverse community members. So please feel free to check our website, dcrs.ca. There are many other